Hello, welcome to Accountant's Minute. This week's edition, the hidden gaps in business buyers' knowledge. This is a very important consideration for accountants and bookkeepers if you are advising people who are looking at buying a business. Over the years, I think there's been a number of myths created that indicate that if your client's a very experienced big end-of-town businessman, that they will automatically succeed in a small business. I think that's a myth. I come across this in actual practice some years ago when a gentleman introduced himself as being an ex-managing director of a public company, and he'd bought a retail business. I offered our full support package, monthly financial accounts, monthly meeting, budgets, cash flow forecast, business plan, and he said, "No, I don't need any of that. I've got all that worked out. I'll just come and have a yarn to you every so often. We'll have a cup of coffee and I'll tell you how I'm going, and you look after the taxation side of things." 2 months later, he rang me and said, "Gee, can you come round to my business quick today?" So I agreed and I went there, and he said, "I think someone's pinching money from me." I said, "Why?" He said, we're very busy, but the bank account's going down." And when I inquired, I found that the way he was setting his prices was to take the cost of his goods plus the gross profit percentage. And I said, "That's not the right way to calculate a selling price." He said, "Yes, it is, and I've been the managing director of a public company." And I said, "No, it's not. It's the cost of the goods plus the markup percentage. You're pricing your products too low, and that's why you're running out of money." So that shattered the myth, as far as I'm concerned, that experienced executives can seamlessly run a small business. There's a lot of challenges in running a small business. There's about 35 different hats to wear because of all the different responsibilities that normally come back to one person. So if you're giving advice to someone looking at buying a business, don't get put off or intimidated by the jobs that they may have had, because even if they were the head of a major business, they normally do not know the intricacies of all the other people in the organisation who are experts in their own role. And this particular gentleman did admit to me that he had 2 qualified accountants on his team, and they normally did all these calculations. So he obviously didn't know how they were calculating the things, but they must have been successful because the business was successful. So I hope you enjoyed this edition of Accountant's Minute. I look forward to being able to communicate with you in our Accountant's Minute podcast, and we'll be able to talk to you again next week. Have a great day. Goodbye.